minutes to go. Oh, wait, we're hearing it now. The pick is in. Let's go to the commissioner and see what happens.
With the 5th pick in the 2020 NFL Draft, the Miami Dolphins select Tua Tagovailoa, quarterback, Alabama.
What is up, Straight Talk Society? This is your host, Trevor, and I am back with another episode of Beyond the Scoreboard. This is the post-game show for the Miami Dolphins, the good guy Miami Dolphins versus the New England Patriots, man. And I do apologize, first of all, for being so late, but, you know, we had a little thing going on at home, so I had to postpone the show for a little bit. But we are going to be before you too long, man. Just want to extol the virtues of this great Miami Dolphin win. I'm going to tell you something. When I saw that we were playing the New England Patriots, I was like, you know what? Yeah, whatever. They're a crappy team. But the bottom line is this. You play who's on your schedule, and division opponents are always hard. Ask the Pittsburgh Steelers, you know, being beat up pretty good by the lowly Cleveland Browns, who we'll see later. I thought this was a great game by the Dolphins. Not without some concerning things. Leave her alone. She's fine. Not without some concerning things. But I thought overall that this game was really, really good. And if anybody still at this point thinks that this team is better off with Tua, you just giving your football card. I mean, seriously, turning your football card because you know absolutely nothing about football. I said it last week. Tua is the Miami Dolphins, and Tua is probably going to save Mike McDaniel's job. This offense runs so much better with number one behind center. Now, he did something today that I wasn't too happy about, but, you know, we'll get to it. Well, I put that more on McDaniel at the end of the game, and we'll get to it. But overall, man, I thought the Dolphins played a really good game. I wish they wouldn't have let their foot off the gas. I wish they would have kept the damn foot on the gas and really throttled the Patriots. And what was so funny, my brother lives in Boston. He's a big Patriot fan. And when it was 14-0, he called me. He was like, hey, man, call your boys and tell them to let the dogs off. And I'm like, no, man, we need to. Hey, I always say you need a slump buster when you're not doing good and things aren't going your way. You always need the fat chick. You always need a slump buster, man. You always need somebody that you go beat up on, iron out some things in the offense and things like that. But it's fun. I mean, again, it was the Patriots. We're still a 5-6 football team, so we're below 500. But the team is absolutely getting better. The defense is a bend but don't break defense because the defense is absolutely got some dogs on that defense, namely Chop Robinson. Welcome to Miami, young man. I can't wait until Chop Robinson and Jalen Phillips are on opposite sides of one another, man. They will be terrorizing quarterbacks for years to come. You know, hopefully Jalen Phillips could stay healthy, but let's get into some game notes, man. Like I said, we won't be here before you long, but that's the first quarter. Miami had Miami's defense forced a 3-and-out. Miami on their first possession, they're stalled. They got one first down, but then that possession stalled. Then New England's next possession, New England goes on this long drive. So think about New England. New England was really, really hurting themselves today. I think in one possession, one drive, they had like 4 pre-snap penalties. And it's funny because I'm watching them and I'm like, oh man, shout out, peace, Ricardo. Will the Dolphins made the playoffs? We'll see, bro. One game at a time. New England had a ton of pre-snap penalties on the same guy too. That was what was so funny about it. So it was really good to see another team besides the Dolphins making bonehead plays, because you know Miami normally makes these bonehead penalties. So Miami, I also have in here, has real problems with mobile quarterbacks. Drake May, you know, they say Drake May is good. I've even said that Drake May was good. I don't really know how good he is. Maybe he doesn't have any weapons, so we won't really be able to tell how good he is, but he was running for his life, but he was keeping a lot of plays open and alive. And that's how it is with Miami. Whenever they get a mobile quarterback that could scramble, i.e. Josh Allen, it creates a lot of problems for them. So they need to keep a spy on the QB or something. So Drake May was buying a lot of time with his feet, but I will say, even though New England was driving the ball, Miami's defense still kept them off the feet, still kept them out of the end zone. They got them to kick a 45-yard field goal, which they ended up missing. So no harm, no foul. You know, New England didn't come away with any points. So Miami's next possession was a thing of mastery. The Samoan sniper, man, Tua Tagovailoa, just completely carved them up like I'm gonna carve this turkey come Thursday for Thanksgiving. Like, he literally just sliced and diced the Patriots defense, and it was just a thing of beauty the way he was just slicing and dicing. Nice passes, nice crossing patterns to Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Man, Jalen Waddle, let's say, had a man's football game today. I forgot that he knew how to catch the football. His game today was the Jalen Waddle of old, which goes back to what I said. I don't think Miami needs 2 big-time receivers. The way they run that offense, I'm not sure that they need 2 big-time receivers, and we'll get to it later on. But Tua threw a nice touchdown pass to his new favorite target, Jonnu Smith, man. Jonnu Smith again, second week in a row. Welcome to Miami, man. Wherever, I know the Falcons weren't using them. The Falcons didn't really need them because they had Kyle Pitts. But hey, one man's trash is another man's treasure. Finally, when you look around the league, every successful quarterback has that safety net at tight end. And the Dolphins have not had that tight end for a while. We thought it was Mike Gesicki, but Mike Gesicki was good every now and then. But Jonnu Smith is a breath of fresh air, and him and Tua are literally, I feel like Tua's first 4 passes went to Jonnu Smith. I mean, it was a thing of beauty because he's always open. He always catches the ball, unlike Odell Beckham, 3 drops today. One wasn't his fault, but it's great to have a tight end that can bail you out in third downs or first down. You could go to him. They even have rushing packages lined up for Jonnu Smith. So, man, what a fantastic addition. Jonnu Smith and Calais Campbell. Again, I extolled the virtues of Calais Campbell last week. I wish we would have had him in the prime of his career, but man, what awesome additions to the Miami Dolphins. So we get to the second quarter. Chop Robinson, just a menace, man, just in that backfield, creating havoc for the young QB Drake May, just always back there. I have another note that Tua and Jonnu Smith have become a great combo. As I said earlier, Tua throws a great pass in the end zone to A-Chain, but is broken up at the last second. Oh, that would have been a beautiful touchdown pass, but at the last second, the defender got his hand in there to break it up. Tua hits Waddle on those crossing routes. Again, let me tell you something. When I'm playing Madden and I'm in third downs, I'm always hitting Waddle on that crossing route, and it's getting me big yards. And that was the Dolphins' bread and butter last year, was those crossing routes with Waddle. And it seems like they went away from them. But now, man, when you talk about eating, Waddle ate today. He ate today. Mostert got his first carry. And it went nowhere. It seems like right now that they may be going away from Raheem Mostert, which is sad. I don't know if he's injured or what, but you could even see on his face when they were in the huddle. When they were in the huddle, it was like he didn't seem like he belonged there. He had a look on his face like he really didn't belong there. So it's sad to see, man. As you know, he had 20 touchdowns last year. So it's really sad to see that they can't find a way to work him into the offense, but it's just not it. Which brings me to my first complaint about the game is the inability to run the ball. I mean, man, okay, we scored 34 points today, so you're like, oh man, Trevor, we won. But I'm looking at the big picture. I still think that the Dolphins could somehow luck up and get into the playoffs. Maybe they don't, maybe they do. But if they make it to the playoffs, they're going to either play Pittsburgh, Baltimore, Kansas City, or Buffalo. All cold weather teams, because you're going to have to go there. All cold weather teams, and you're going to have to run the ball, field position, play defense. And the Dolphins' inability to run the football is alarming. The only plus yards they were getting was tosses. A-Chain was getting a few 8-yard runs, but for the most part, it was tricks, tosses or reverses. Like they were just doing trickery. Again, what I've always said, they can't line up and just, punch you in the nose. They cannot do it. Even on commentary. Commentary was even saying that the Dolphins don't have any toughness. When it comes to running the football, they got to be able to run the football, especially now we're getting into December. The games are going to be a little colder. The Dolphins have a test this Thursday against the Green Bay Packers. They're going to Lambeau, and it absolutely is probably going to be snowing there. So Tua's not going to be throwing the ball 30, 40 times a game. You're going to have to line up and run the football. And I don't think the Dolphins have the ability to line up and run the football. The pass blocking this season, at least the pass blocking since Tua has been back, has been superb. The pass blocking has absolutely been superb. Shout out to Venkat in the building. The pass blocking has absolutely been superb, but they can't run block for anything. They can't get any push off the line. And it's so depressing. Like I said, I love the win. I was hoping they would have got a shutout, but they didn't because they let their foot off the gas. But I still could even see in those victories because they've scored like a lot of points these last 4 weeks ever since Tua's been back. And I'm just like, okay, that's good. It was all in cool. It was all in warm weather. You had some of them home. What you going to do when you go to the cold? Our first test is going to be this Thursday, Thanksgiving night, which I do plan on doing. I don't know, because it's one of those late games. Depending on how the game goes, I may sound off on the game after afterwards, Thanksgiving, after everybody's full of turkey. Hopefully the Dolphins don't let us down, or at least go and play a competitive game and not get blown out, because Green Bay to me is hit or miss. They're playing San Fran right now without Brock Purdy, so without Bosa. So they're playing a beaten San Fran team, but they don't look too extraordinary for me. So the Dolphins absolutely can go in there and steal a win to get the 500. But we'll see how that goes, because these quick turnaround games for the Dolphins is always something. So Tua hits A-Chain for a 9-yard touchdown. Tua was dealing today, man. It's so funny when you still see the people. I forget where I was yesterday. Oh, me and my family were out to dinner Friday night, and one of the waiters, he was like, oh man, he was talking about the Dolphins, and he was like, I don't think we could win with that guy. And I'm like, what? Have you watched the Dolphins over the past 3 years? Like, I mean, the Dolphins go how Tua goes. Tua, like right now, if they started the season 4 weeks ago when he came back, he'd probably be the front runner for the MVP. He's been that great. 70% completion. 70% completion. 28 points, 27 points, 23 points, 34 points, 30 last week. Like the Dolphins, this is the Dolphins of last year. They're doing it a little bit different. They haven't done the big plays down the field to Tyreek, because the defenses have learned, hey, let's not play Tyreek Hill one-on-one. Let's put a safety over the top. So they've taken that deep threat ability away from Tyreek Hill. So I got in my notes that Tyreek Hill is now starting to get what I like to call dirty yards. Tyreek Hill is getting those yards where he has to dive. He's getting those yards where he has to go across the middle. Nothing's coming easy for him. But when you have a threat like that still keeps the defense honest, and you have the emergence of Jonnu Smith, the Dolphins are now playing what I like to call real football. They aren't doing the gimmick plays anymore. They're still doing the pre-snap motion, but they have to be able to run the ball. Until they can run the football, then right now we're just feeding off of the bottom feeders right now, which is fine, because, again, you play who's on your schedule. But the time is going to come, and it starts this Thursday against the Packers. You're going to have to line up and run the ball. They showed that they could run the ball when Tua was out, because they had no other choice, because they had shit at the quarterback position. So they had to run the ball, or else you wasn't getting any yards either other way. It was Ricardo saying, my issue with the Fins is the injuries in the roster. Yeah, but that's the NFL, a violent sport, man. Everybody's getting injured. So I got Tua and Waddle are really connected for chunk plays. They were getting like 15 plus. I think they may have had like 2 or 3 15 plus. Then he had a 30-yarder to Waddle. He threw a touchdown to Waddle. Chop Robinson coming off the edge again, causing the fumble on May that was overturned. Chop Robinson came in and obliterated him. But they said that it was the Tom Brady rule, the Tuck rule. Two of the Waddle for 29 yards. Waddle was way over 100 yards today. Miami takes a 24-0 lead into the half. So the first half stats, Tua was 20 of 27, 247 yards, 3 touchdowns. Waddle had 6 receptions, 118 yards. Jonnu Smith, 7 receptions, 71 yards. But here's the kicker. Miami only had 34 rushing yards. 34 rushing yards in 2.5 of football is unacceptable in the NFL. You are not going to win. Hey, man, shout out to y'all. 20 of y'all watching live. Y'all make sure and hit that like button. This let your people know that this is where it is. I am the maniacal Dolphin fan. I'm here win or lose, baby. Win or lose. Only if it's a daytime game. If it's those late games, I can't do it. It's just too late. Now it's 23 of y'all watching. I appreciate that. 24. Make sure and hit that like button. Shout out to those of you watching over on Twitter. Let everybody know where it is. Feel free to comment in the chat. I will read all your questions before I get off. So Miami had 34 rushing yards. Unacceptable. Let's play a little look into the future right now. I don't want to look into the future because, hey, I still got this bottle of 1800 sitting on my mantle that I will open and drink when the Dolphins win their first playoff game in over 20 years. So let's play a little bit of look into the future. The Dolphins are absolutely in the hunt, but say we get that 7th spot. Just say we get that 7th spot. That means we're going to play the number 2 seed, which would probably either be Buffalo or the Steelers. Which God, I would listen. I want nothing more than the Dolphins to luck into the playoffs and have to play the Steelers, because I think we will absolutely throttle the Steelers. You hear me? You hear me, Zay? You hear me, Zay? APB out for Zay. We will throttle the Steelers. We will throttle the Steelers. But if you're going to play those teams, you make it into the playoffs, you have to be able to run the football. You got to be able to run the football because you're going into those cold weather games. You cannot, I mean, hell, Tua is my favorite player. Y'all know, you listen to me for any length of time. In 2020, when they drafted Tua, I said in 5 years, we'll be in the Super Bowl. This is our 5th year. I wanted to lose every single game. I was the leader of the tank for Tua. So I'm never jumping off the ship for Tua. I love the fact that he has so much ability. He has so much confidence in his arm, but also I watch football. So I'm like, hey, don't overdo it. Let's run the ball. I mean, A-Chain is a great, A-Chain to me is a Reggie Bush type player. He's not going to get you all the yards between the tackles, but he's so versatile. You could use him in so many other ways. I think right now, A-Chain is leading all running backs in like all-purpose yards. He's like number 1. So he's a great addition. Moser, to me, his time is running down, unfortunately. Injuries are piling up and things like that. Jalen Wright, he shows flashes of brilliance, and then like today, he couldn't make anything happen. So I don't know what we need. I don't know what we need to do, but we gotta be able to run the football. It will not work if we cannot run this football. Y'all hear me, Miami? The Dolphins have to run the football. Run the football and play defense. That's what it's going to take, because we're obviously not getting home field advantage if we make the playoffs. So we got to go on the road. You got to be the road warriors. And every stadium you're going into is a cold stadium. Run the football. Yeah, Odell Beckham dropped, man, Tua threw him a dart in the end zone, and the defender, that Christian Gonzalez, that guy's awesome. He got his hand in there at the very end, but then Tua threw him a teardrop pass. Oh, my God, he threw him a 30-yard teardrop pass, cross-body down the sideline, and Beckham just completely dropped it. He completely dropped it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts, because I've seen Odell Beckham make some of the most ridiculous catches in the world. He completely dropped that. So, I don't know what's going on with Beckham. Jonnu Smith is absolutely our 3rd receiver right now, and that it is what it is. I thought Beckham's production would have been so much better. Good thing I didn't bet at the beginning of the year, because I think there was a prop bet out there of him getting like 500 yards or something like that. So good thing I never bid on that one, because I mean, at this point, he'd be lucky if he gets 100 at the rate he's going. So we get into the 3rd quarter. Miami did get the ball back, and this is where I feel like Miami let their foot off the gas, which they always do. Miami goes 3 and out on the first possession. Miami's defense, I saw Omar Kelly say this on Twitter. He said, man, the Dolphins are finally in a position where they could just pin their ears back and let the defense go, which they absolutely were. And that's what they were doing. They were sending the house at Drake May, but he was sidestepping them. He was making some of the luckiest passes I've ever seen, especially that 4th and 15 touchdown, which was absolutely insane. So yeah, I have a note on here too that commentary was saying the fact that the Dolphins can't run the ball. Zach Sealer needs to make the Pro Bowl this year. He forces a fumble on May, recovered by Miami. Next possession, Tua to Waddle for the 23-yard touchdown. I mean, Tua was dealing. So Miami was up at this point 31. It was 31-0. And I'm yelling at my TV screen like, hey, take Tua out. He's already got 4 touchdowns. His passer rating was probably perfect. Take him out of the game. Like, there's no reason for Tua to be in the game. Because all I'm thinking now is when he got hurt in Alabama, I think they were up by 5 touchdowns, and he ended up getting the hip injury, which completely derailed his season. So I'm like, oh my God, I even have in my notes, hey, why is Tua still in the game? McDaniel, take him out of the game. Mike McDaniel, listen, I like Mike McDaniel, and I criticize him for his clock management, which, by the way, the Dolphins have been playing some clean games these last few weeks. I mean, clean in the fact of no pre-snap penalties, no time running out. You guys know at the beginning of the season, oh my God, every snap was at 1 second left. They've completely cleaned that up. I like Mike McDaniel. I think Mike McDaniel is our head coach, but he's too much of a player's coach where he lets these guys, sometimes he lets these guys do what may not be in their best interest. And so I'm like, hey, Armstead should be out, which Armstead did come out. You don't need these guys in anymore. You got Craycraft, you got Malik Washington. Give those guys some time. And so now Dolphins next possession, I got, why aren't we running the ball? Still in there throwing the ball. Still in there throwing. Like, no reason to be throwing. So no harm, no foul. Miami gets the ball back. Skylar Thompson comes in. Blonde Tua. Oh my goodness. Blonde Tua is on the sideline just grinning because he dealed. Tua knows he put his team in a position to walk away with the ball game. So his day's done. He's sitting on the sideline laughing and giggling with everybody. He has the chalkboard in his hand because now he's about to be coach. Skylar Thompson and Malik Wright come in, fumbled the damn ball. The Patriots scoop and score. And I'm like, oh my God, what is happening here? Is this the meltdown in Miami about to happen? And it reminds me back to 2007. Any old Dolphin fan will know this. 2007, the Dolphins were playing the Patriots. This is when the Patriots were unstoppable. It was a game here in Miami, and the Patriots were up 35-0. 35-0. Tom Brady took his helmet off. His day was over. They're taking him out of the game. Matt Castle comes in, throws a pick six to Jason Taylor. Tom Brady says to hell with that, puts his helmet back on, gets back in the game, and throws a 60-yard touchdown strike over 3 defenders to Randy Moss in the end zone. I'm like, oh my God. Like, what the hell happened? Bro, Tom Brady was our daddy, but Tua is the Patriots' daddy since he's been here. I want to say he's 6-1 or 7-1 against the Patriots. So he owns the Patriots, kind of like Josh Allen owns the Dolphins. So Tua gets back in the game, which I did not like. There was a scary moment in there where, shout out to Thinking Black in the building. There was a scary moment where Tua was scrambling, and I think number 15 for the Patriots drug him down from behind, and I saw Tua's head smack the ground, and I just put my hand in my head, and I'm like, oh my God, don't let it happen like this. Don't let our season be over like this, because if Tua goes down, that's it. Our season is over. But he got up, he jumped right back up and was laughing. Sometimes you got to protect Tua from himself. I could tell you, he doesn't seem like the guy. He doesn't seem like the guy that's gonna be like, hey, coach, yeah, let me just sit out. I mean, we're up by 3 touchdowns. Let me just sit this one out. So the Patriots get the ball back. The Patriots are driving because now they got the momentum. They just forced a 3 and out. All of a sudden, Dodson, who was just waived by the Seattle Seahawks this week, has the dopest one-hand interception that you'll ever see. Dolphins get the ball back. The worst thing I saw, Tua gets back in the goddamn game. I'm like, bro, at this point, I'm calling Mike McDaniel everything in the world, because now you're not protecting him from himself. The Dolphins, all you got to do, get in, hand the ball off. Skylar Thompson, can you do that? Get in, hand the football off. Tua gets back in the game for just garbage stats, literally just padding stats at this point. Jason Sanders, like we really needed that extra 3 points. Jason Sanders comes in, kicks a 51-yard field goal to ice the game. I stopped taking those at that point because it was it. The thing was like 5 minutes left in the game. The Dolphins were clearly up. There was going to be no coming back, not with that offense that the Patriots were doing. So but it was just so infuriating to see Tua get back in the game. You're already up like 3 touchdowns. You already gave him the clipboard. Why put him back in the game? Like, why? He took the sack where his head hit the turf, and you put him back in the game. Like, why? It just makes no sense. Sometimes, Mike McDaniel, you have to protect your quarterback from himself. He doesn't know what's good for him, obviously. He's a warrior. He's a football player. You got to be a crazy person to play football. Nobody wants to get hit for a living constantly. You got to be a crazy person to sit here and do this. So you got to protect him from himself so he doesn't suffer permanent damage. And not for nothing, we need him. We need him. As you can see, with pre-Tua, the games before Tua, we were averaging 11 points a game. With Tua, we're averaging 27 points a game. So you tell me, we need him, but we need him to stay healthy. So Mike McDaniel, protect Tua from Tua. When you jump out to a lead like this, Mike McDaniel needs to hide his helmet. Absolutely. Yeah, I agree, Thinking Black. Hide his helmet and tell him put on the damn Guardian cap, even though it looks silly. Put it on. But two of you out there dealing, man. But it's so funny because it's funny. One of my friends was over here earlier, and she was just saying how, she felt so bad when Tua got the concussions and things like that. And we just had a conversation, like, because she doesn't like the Dolphins, but it's what it is. But she was just like, man, we need to protect him. The Dolphins is our quarterback. I don't give a damn what anybody says. I'm riding with Tua till the wheels fall off. And if we get a couple of snaps here and there, we luck into the playoffs, it will be on the back of number one. We're going to go as far as number one takes us. So let's get into some stats, and then we'll be out of here. So the Samoan sniper Tua Tagovailoa was 29 of 40. I don't really need him throwing the ball 40 times in a game. You got to find some way to get some runs. 317 yards, 4 touchdowns. Devon Achane, 10 carries, 32 yards. Absolutely terrible. Jalen Wright, 7 carries, 28 yards. Raheem Mostert, 2 carries, 5 yards. So, from your running back, from your running back position, you had what? 19 carries, not even 70 yards. Just terrible. 19 carries, like 70 yards between 3 running backs. Terrible. Just absolutely terrible. You're not going to win December football that way. Receiving, Jalen Waddle, 8 catches, 144 yards. He had a man's football game today. 1 touchdown. Jonnu Smith, 9 catches, 87 yards. Tyreek Hill with the dirty work today. 5 catches, 48 yards. Devon Achane, 3 catches, 24 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Devon Achane had 2 receiving touchdowns, by the way. So let's see. Yeah, that's all that really mattered. Chop Robinson just disrupting the hell out of the offense today. Just fantastic play from the rookie. Let's see what the other games are doing. Before we get into the other games, let me see where we are here. So let's look at the schedule before we get into you know what? I'll close out with the schedule. Let's look at these other games and then check out the schedule. Wait, did I see MD? Oh no, I thought that was MD. Oh, and well, I'll say it later. So Thursday night we had the Browns over the Steelers 24-19. The Titans beat the Texans. Wow. Wow. Okay, I lost that one. Oh man, I had the Titans over the Texans in the pool, so I definitely lost that one. The Vikings held out to beat the Bears 30-27. The Cowboys over the Commanders 34-26. Wow, I can't believe that. The good guy, Miami football Dolphins 34-15 winners over the stinking Patriots. The Chiefs and the Panthers too close for comfort. The Chiefs ended up winning 30-27. The Buccaneers throttled the Giants. Speaking of the Giants, so we do realize this week that Daniel Jones was released, and I am saying Miami Dolphins, go sign Daniel Jones. All you got to pay him is league minimum. Listen, I hope Tua stays upright for the rest of the season. But in the event that Tua went down, you have at least Daniel Jones is competent enough. And I feel there was a time where Daniel Jones was a good quarterback. But when you put him behind that terrible line and you don't give him any weapons, then this is what happens to him. You get him for the league minimum, and then if you cut him at the end of the year, then you get a compensatory pick. If I was the Dolphins, I would get Daniel Jones right now because Skylar Thompson is not the answer at backup. I don't know why Ryan Tannehill isn't back with the Miami Dolphins right now. That's beyond me. But Miami Dolphins, Chris Greer, get up off your ass and get Daniel Jones here as a backup to Tua. The Lions 24-6 win. Oh man, they only scored 24 points. 24-6 winners over the Colts. The Raiders are trailing the Broncos 25-14 with 4 minutes left in that game, 5 minutes left in that game. The Cardinals and the Seahawks have been delayed. Okay, now it's back on. It was delayed. The Seahawks are up 13-3 over the Cardinals. The Packers are up 24-10 over the 49ers. And tonight's game, you have the Eagles and the Rams. And then the Monday night game, you have the Ravens and the Chargers. So, shout out to y'all, man. 13 of y'all watching on YouTube and 13 of y'all watching on Twitter. I appreciate that so much. Thank you for tuning into the show. Let me get into the schedule and then we can get out of here. Let me get the schedule up. All right, so our remaining schedule is as such. So we are a 5-6 football team right now. We are what the record says we are. You are what your record says. So there's no woulda, coulda, shoulda. I wrote on Twitter earlier today. Y'all follow me at the Heel Minister. I wrote on Twitter today that, man, imagine if Tua wasn't hurt for 4 games, where we'd be right now. We'd at least be 2 up in the win column, at least. So we'd be a 7-4 football team right now. So let's see the remaining of the schedule this Thanksgiving. So give me something to be thankful for, Miami Dolphins. I mean, I'm thankful for my family, but in the sports world, give me something to be thankful for. This Thursday, we do have the Green Bay Packers, a Sunday night game, Turkey Day game. And the Packers right now are up 24-10 over the 49ers, but you're talking about a depleted 49ers with some guy at quarterback I never heard of. So that doesn't count. But that game is projected to be a snow game. So the Dolphins historically don't play good in cold weather. We saw it in the playoffs. We see it every time they go to Buffalo. We see it whenever they go to Baltimore. They always get throttled. So Miami, if you're for real, this is the reason I heard this today that Calais Campbell didn't get traded because he asked Mike McDaniel, do you believe we can do this? And Mike McDaniel said, absolutely. So it starts here. The Miami Dolphins, if you want to show and prove to everybody that you're for real, there's pundits saying that you guys are the 10th best team in the NFL. I don't believe that. But if you want to prove that you're for real, it starts with beating the Green Bay Packers this Thursday night. Shout out to David Strickland. Oh yeah, Detroit to me is. I think Detroit is well. Okay, you're saying the cold games. I think Detroit is the favorite for the Super Bowl. To me, Detroit is unreal right now. But if you wanna if you want to show everybody that you're for real and you're not the joke that only beats up on bad teams, then it starts this Thursday with the Green Bay Packers. Even if you got to do it ugly, even if you got to go in there and grind it out and get punched in the mouth and win by a field goal or something, at least show that you can go to Green Bay, you can go to the cold weather game and win a football game against a playoff caliber team. Can you do that, Miami? Do that for me. Do that for me. Do that for me. Go into Green Bay this Thursday, Thanksgiving night. Everybody will be watching. And go in there and punch them in the mouth. Show everybody that you aren't the soft Dolphins that everybody calls you. Go in there, run the football right down their throat, and then get them with some timely passes. Let's see if you could do that, and then we could talk. Then after that, we have the Texans. Historically, the Dolphins do not play good against the Texans. There was a time where I think the Texans were like 5-0 against the Dolphins. It's kind of petered out a little bit, but the Texans still a good football team. So that's going to be a tough one against the Texans. Then we have the then we have the Jets. Oh, no, sorry. I missed one. The Jets. So after the Green Bay game, then we have the Jets, which the Jets are a sinking ship, a dumpster fire. Go in there and beat them. Beat them. Just beat them. Don't play around with them. Treat them like the redhead stepchildren that they are, and just go in there and beat them. That's what you do. Go in there and throttle them. Aaron Rodgers is whatever. And take care of business. Then you have the Texans. Then you have the 49ers. Who knows what 49ers team it'll be if Brock Purdy will be back. I don't know the injury that he has. Bosa is out. Who knows? But you got to take care of business there. Then you have the Browns, which is a sneaky good team. The Browns have a Super Bowl caliber defense. Their offense, not so much. But with Jameis Winston now, they've been playing a lot better. So it's going to be tough. And then we end the season with the Jets. So that's what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's 5 games. That's 5 games left. Right now, we're 5-5. We're 5-6 right now with 5 games left. The Dolphins have to go at least 3-2 in these last 5 games, because that'll get you 4-1. Sorry, because 4-1 at the very minimum, because you're 5-6 now. 4-1 will get you to 10-7. Wait a minute, what the hell am I talking about? 1, 2, 3, 4. No, there's 6 games. Hey, my math isn't mathing today. There's 6 games left. So Miami could, in theory, go 4-2. I think if they go 4-2, they probably could make the playoffs, because it'll get them to a 9-8 record. We made the playoffs 2 years ago with a 9-8 record. You'd like it to see it closer to 10, but I think they can go 4-2 and still make the playoffs. But you cannot lose to the Jets. You can't lose to the Jets. You can't lose to the Browns, because they're bad football teams. They're 3-2 win teams. You gotta beat them. You cannot lay down. There is no margin for error anymore. If you go into a Thursday night game and you lose to Green Bay, you may get a pass depending on how the game is. If you go in there and you just have an all-out shootout competitive game and you run out of time, then hey, it is what it is. But you can't go there and get throttled. The margin for error is so slim right now. So the Dolphins have to go at least 4-2 in these last 6 games. I'd be more happier with 5-1, but you got to go at least 4-2 in these last games. And that's that. It is what it is. It is what it is. You don't go 4-2, there's nothing to see here. You can't. There's no playoffs. The season is a failure. So not getting a suitable backup in the beginning of the season. Shout out to MD in the building, political profit amongst men. Not getting a suitable backup quarterback in the beginning of the season put us in this position right now. Put us in this position to have to fight our way back to get into some type of relevancy. And now you have to in your last 6 games, you gotta go 4-2. You have to. At least 4-2. Nothing less. Nothing less is suitable. Nothing less will do, or else it's just a wasted season, and you might as well just pack it up. And that's where we are with that. So let me get back on here. Yeah, so that's where we are with that. But listen, I appreciate you guys that came through, man. This is the Miami Dolphins Beyond the Scoreboard. There's 23 of y'all watching between Twitter and YouTube. Hey, be back here. Hey, Bills did it last year. Yeah, you got it. You got to do it, MD. You have to do it. If there's no way, there's no way you, and it starts with Green Bay. It starts with Green Bay. Go to Green Bay and punch them in their mouth and steal a victory on a Thursday night. Steal a Thursday night victory. Come back and whoop up on the sorry Jets. That's it. That's it. You got to do it. You have to do it. This Miami Dolphins, this is a must win football game. No other way to put it. This is a must win. But shout out to those of you that came through, man. I appreciate it. You guys check out what we got on the channel. We will be going on a little hiatus for the month of December. I'll still be doing the Dolphins post games, but as far as the other shows, we will be going on a little hiatus. Tune in tomorrow night for the Last Man Talk Monday of the year. It promises to be a good one. That's all I'll say. Tomorrow night at 6:15 p.m. Eastern time, man. But again, thank you guys that came through, man. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out to those of you on Twitter. I will see you guys on the other side. Peace.